Welcome to Penguin Land, our very dear friends, and thank you so much for joining us for another spectacular Wildlife Conservation Network Expo. Let's explore together some of the most remote places on Earth together with our penguins. My name is Poppy Borboroglu. I am the founder-president of the Global Penguin Society, an international organization that promotes the protection of all the penguin species on the planet through science, protection of habitat, and also education.
Hello everybody, how are you? My name is Laura Reyes and I am the Director of Conservation of the Global Penguin Society. And I'm super excited to be here to show you some of our main challenges and accomplishments in penguin conservation. It is important to mention that there are 18 species of penguins in the world and half of them are considered threatened. Climate change is a critical threat for them now. On land, they could be affected by human disturbance, and in the sea, they are affected mainly by fisheries and pollution.
Most penguins have been migrating out in the ocean during the last 6 months, which is the winter in the southern hemisphere. Migration trips can be very long and challenging. Did you know that a Magellanic penguin of 20 inches can swim up to 4,000 miles in only one trip? Besides, in one of our most recent studies, we discovered a king penguin that traveled 5,000 miles. 5,000 miles in only one trip between the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans. This is likely like traveling from New York to Athens in Greece, or from San Francisco to Tokyo. Migration trips can be very challenging and they are exposed to many threats. That is the reason why we also protect penguins at sea.
Oil spills have killed thousands of penguins in 4 continents. When penguins get oiled at sea, they lose floatability and cannot maintain their body temperature. If they can reach the coast, then they cannot go back to the sea to eat. So they starve to death for weeks until they die.
In the 80s, 40,000 penguins died per year in this same area due to the oil spills. Exactly 30 years ago, a very harmful oil spill affected 17,000 penguins in this same region of Patagonia. Back then, we organized a huge rehabilitation and rescue effort, and that increased the visibility of the problem and also helped to move oil tanker lanes further offshore. That initiative helped to reduce the number of dead penguins from 40,000 in the 80s to less than 30 individuals now.
Unfortunately, Argentina is now planning a huge oil development in its ocean. To locate oil deposits in the seafloor, they generate sound explosions underwater that can injure and kill penguins and other marine wildlife. The Global Penguin Society was one of the speaker organizations at the public hearing opposing this initiative. Thanks to our tracking studies, we could show that these plans will overlap with critical habitat for 3 penguin species that eat and migrate in the area. Finally, the government announced that they will not issue or give new oil exploration permits, but we will follow up this concerning issue.
Climate change is unequivocal and a big threat for penguins. A recent study estimated that nearly all the emperor penguin colonies would disappear by the year 2100 because they depend on sea ice to eat and also to breathe. But in areas outside of Antarctica, climate change is also increasing the number of heat waves. For example, last year, in one of our colonies here in Patagonia, 260 healthy penguins died in only one afternoon when the temperature reached 112 degrees Fahrenheit.
But there is so much that we can do to address these issues.
For example, in November, we will participate in different activities at COP26, the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Scotland, which is critical to halting catastrophic climate change because it will accelerate action towards the goals of the Paris Agreement.
In the short run, we continue working to reduce the impact of human activities on penguins so they can cope better with climate change. To do so, we have already secured 32 million acres of healthy and safe habitat for penguins. Some were designated as national parks, marine protected areas, or biosphere reserves.
Science is fundamental to justify and design habitat protection. Thomas and Ursula have been the Global Penguin Society representatives in New Zealand for many years, studying one of the most unusual penguins, the Fjordland-Crested Penguins, called Tawaki by the local Maori community.
They seem to be breaking all the rules. Everything we know about penguins, everything we extrapolated from other penguin species, it doesn't apply to Tawaki. Basically, by studying them, we start from scratch. Tawaki breed in the most inaccessible regions of New Zealand, southwestern Fjordland and the remote coast of Stewart Island. That to complicate things, they are mainly active at night on land. So yeah, it's a tough job finding Tawaki. This season, on average, we go home around 2 a.m. It comes with a lot of sleep deprivation, but it's fun. Once you're out here and once you see Tawaki in this incredible environment, it's just an incredible scenery to be working with penguins.
In Africa, there is a very concerning issue with the African penguin, and our colleague Dr. Lauren Waller will tell us more about it.
Thanks, Poppy. Reduced food availability is a critical threat facing the African penguin, and this is particularly the case during periods of low biomass when the impact of competition with commercial fisheries is that much more marked. The African penguin population has collapsed from over 1 million pairs in the 1900s to just over 10,000 pairs today. We need to understand their foraging behavior, both temporally and spatially, in order to better protect their feeding grounds. We're enormously grateful for the support of the Global Penguin Society in supporting this tracking work of their foraging trips. This work will enable us to better protect critical feeding areas for the African penguin in all phases of their life cycle.
And now we will fly from Africa back to South America to connect with Lujan, our Director of Education.
Hi everyone, I am super excited to see you today and to show you our main educational activities that encourage people to protect penguins, the coast and the oceans where they inhabit. Plastic pollution is an increasing issue that affects penguins even in the most remote places where they live, including Antarctica. Penguins get entangled with them and sometimes they can eat pieces of plastic that hurt them and even kill them. Also, plastic degrades the nesting habitat. We find penguins nested with bottles, bags, and different plastic elements in their nest. To reduce their impact, we engage hundreds of adolescents and general public in beach cleanup events, removing garbage from the penguin colonies. We also carry out awareness campaign to reduce the consumption of single-use plastic in beach resorts. Apart from leaving a healthy habitat for penguins, we promote behavioral changes to benefit the environment. Most of the plastic garbage we find comes from the fishing boats. Together with other NGOs, we are working at a regional scale in Southwest Atlantic to implement good practices to avoid plastic dumping into the sea during the fishing operations. I must confess that one of my favorite activities are the school trips to visit penguin colonies, where most children meet penguins for the first time in their lives. They learn to value, appreciate, and preserve them. Now we are expanding our education program to new areas where Magellanic penguin and southern rockhopper penguin coexist. This year, many children are already enjoying our latest learning and activity books called Meet the Penguins. These books combine fantastic handmade paintings with educational activities, fun facts, and games that will bring children around the planet closer to the amazing penguins world through fun and entertainment.
Thanks a lot, Luján. And in addition, last July we launched our new book called Penguins of the Equator, about the Galapagos penguin. It is one of the rarest species of penguin whose global population is less than 2,000 pairs. This book will increase awareness to help reduce human disturbance. Penguins always look friendly and kind, but let's face the truth. Working with penguins is not always a walk in the park. Sometimes these little guys boycott our plans.
That's right, they do not cooperate all the way. In this video, we can see a system that identifies and weighs the penguins automatically. But these 3 penguins managed to unplug the system from the electrical power. In this other case, we are trying to set up a satellite antenna to transmit an online class from the field. But these tech guys took their time to have the device approved. To inspire new generations of conservationists, we are making progress filming a movie in Patagonia, Argentina and in New Zealand. And we want you to enjoy the first trailer. Please take a look. I was only 3 years old when I heard about the penguins for the first time. My grandmother, Melania, used to tell me fantastic stories about her visits to see the penguins along the coast of Patagonia, Argentina, over 100 years ago. My name is Pablo Garcia Borboroglu, and I have dedicated 30 years of my life to study and protect the penguins of the world. This is the story of my life among the penguins and my passion for them. As you all know, life has been very difficult during the pandemic, especially in developing countries.
Everything we shared today was accomplished with much more effort and sacrifice than normal, and required more resources than ever.
We like to highlight the positive side of things, and this is what we have shared with you today.
But nature needed us more than ever, and we have proved that we are made of optimism and hope.
If we count with your support, we will never ever give up. Thank you for being there for the penguins and the oceans of our planet.
Thank you.